What if Ahsoka had nightmares of Anakin turning to the dark side? Let's start the story after Ahsoka left the Jedi Order. She spends months with the Martez sisters, adjusting to her new life as she's made a new set of friends, the first since she's left the Jedi Order. However, one night, when she was sleeping on the lower levels of Coruscant, Ahsoka's consciousness was attacked by a devastating nightmare. Her vision was clouded with darkness, but more importantly, of Jedi destruction. The temple in flames, bodies everywhere, and the culprit behind the attack was a faceless man. She woke in shock as she tried to make sense of the nightmare, but concluded it was just that, a nightmare. However, for the next week, the nightmare happened every night, and Ahsoka couldn't help but conclude that something more sinister was at play through the Force. On the 8th night, the vision changed for the worse. The faceless man behind the attack was unmasked, as he removed his hood to reveal the man, Anakin Skywalker. She woke in a cold sweat. What had she just witnessed? Why would the Force be showing her these visions? They couldn't be premonitions of the future, could they? She had never sensed the future before, but she knew of other Jedi who had the ability, notably Anakin Skywalker. She couldn't ignore the dreams now, and she decided she must talk with Anakin. She contacts the Jedi Temple Communication Center to ask where Anakin was, and because of her relationship with Anakin, they told Ahsoka that he was currently involved in the Outer Rim sieges, and she went to him immediately. She arrived in the Outer Rim during the Battle of Anaxis, right after Anakin defeated Admiral Trench and they captured Anaxis from the Separatists. She meets the Jedi afterwards, Windu, Anakin, and Obi-Wan. Windu asks Ahsoka what the citizen wants, who states she wants to speak with Anakin privately. Skywalker was very excited to see her. Even though they only had been apart for months, he had missed her dearly, and was happy she was okay. After Anakin finalizes his mission summaries, he meets with Ahsoka, and asks her why she's come back, but that he's happy to see her regardless. She tells him that she wishes it could have been under better circumstances, but that she's come seeking advice regarding Force visions she's been having. Anakin looks at her confused. He hasn't known any other Jedi who had visions like him, so he took an interest, asking Ahsoka about the context of the visions. And she tells Anakin how her visions showed the destruction of the Jedi Order. She doesn't know when, or even if they're real, but she's worried they are visions of the future. She decides to not mention how she sees Anakin in her visions as the one doing the destruction, for now at least. Anakin thinks on this, and tells Ahsoka that maybe what she's seeing is a version of the end of the Clone War, with the Separatists attacking the Jedi Temple, or maybe the visions are a manifestation of the guilt she feels for leaving the Jedi Order, that she's afraid she won't be present when the Jedi and galaxy need her the most. Ahsoka knows these can't be correct, since she saw Anakin as the one destroying the Jedi, but doesn't have the heart to tell him, because she's afraid of how he'll react. He tells Ahsoka not to get hung up on these visions, to remain in the present, to meditate and be patient, and soon the visions will reveal their purpose. It's ironic. Silence falls between them, both in deep thought, as Anakin asks Ahsoka what her plans are now, and she asks permission to stay with him and join the Outer Rim sieges, as she believes to understand the truth of her visions, she must remain by Anakin's side. She does this, and fights alongside Anakin, Obi-Wan, and the 501st with Captain Rex, and she starts to feel at home again, realizing her true home is with her master Anakin, and not the Jedi Order. They fight for months, up until the time when Anakin and Obi-Wan are called to save the Chancellor. Ahsoka joins them in this mission, as they return to Coruscant to find all-out war and successfully board Grievous's ship. They find the Chancellor, but are confronted by Count Dooku. The four of them fight, and Dooku renders Obi-Wan unconscious and pushes the attack on the other two. Dooku focuses on Ahsoka, knowing that if he kills her, it will help in Anakin's pull to the darkness, something Palpatine wants immensely. But Anakin could never let this happen, as he attacks Dooku too relentlessly, where he doesn't have the opportunity to focus on Ahsoka, merely defend from her attacks. Anakin cuts Dooku's wrists off and holds his lightsaber at his throat. Palpatine praises Anakin for his work and orders him to do it, to kill Dooku now. Ahsoka shuffles in confusion. Why would Anakin kill Dooku when he has him beat and defenseless? Rather, they should capture him and use him to forge a peace treaty between the Republic and Separatists. They gain nothing in killing him here. Anakin considers Palpatine's words, but his mind is cleared of this when Ahsoka tells him no, to not do it, as they can capture Dooku and use him to their advantage. Palpatine presses on, repeating his words and pressuring Anakin to do it, but Ahsoka stands in front of him, telling Anakin that she won't let him, both because they can use Dooku, but also because she doesn't want her master to become a cold-blooded killer. Anakin retracts both lightsabers, and they take Dooku in handcuffs, freeing the Chancellor and successfully return to Coruscant. After this, Anakin is praised all around the HoloNet, the hero who saved the Chancellor, but also captured Count Dooku, and single-handedly brought the Separatists to their knees. But this was all a part of Palpatine's plan. Anakin was the poster boy of the Jedi Order. He essentially was the Jedi and most famous person around the galaxy. The stories of him were legend, and Palpatine was allowing this for a reason. He would have hoped Anakin killed Dooku to start his journey down the dark path, but he'll twist this and use it to his advantage. Hey guys, just a quick reminder, today is our Black Friday sale over at Fantasy Sabers, where with each order, we're giving away a free mystery saber, any from our collection chosen at random. There's also up to 50% off store-wide and free international shipping. Check out our NeoPixel replicas as well as an extensive Padawan NeoPixel saber range. The sale runs all weekend, is the first link in the description. Now back to the video. Ahsoka travels back to the Jedi Temple with Obi-Wan and Anakin, and stays in one of the rooms for the time being. But everything changes this first night, as Anakin just learned Padme was pregnant, but also had nightmares of her dying in childbirth. Anakin's fear rose immediately, and he didn't know what to do. He wanted to talk to someone about it, for advice, for support, but he couldn't tell anyone in the Jedi Order, which left one person, his apprentice Ahsoka. He goes to her temporary room in the Jedi Temple and tells her everything. Padme, the nightmares, their child, and asks her what she thinks. Ahsoka tells Anakin that she knew. She has always known, and she's happy that he trusted her enough to reveal the truth. But she can't help but wonder if Anakin's nightmares are related to her own, which have not stopped. It's too much of a coincidence that they're both having dark visions. Something more sinister is at play. She can sense the fear emanating from Anakin and tells him she'll support him and Padme in every way possible. Anakin reveals he'll go seek advice from Yoda tomorrow, and Ahsoka decides to tag along. She listens in as Anakin tells Yoda about his dreams of loss and death without revealing it's about Padme and his child. But she knows the advice Yoda is giving Anakin to let go of everything you fear to lose will definitely not help Anakin, as there's no way he can let go of Padme. They leave and Anakin's fear has risen more than it had been initially. Ahsoka mentions to Anakin that they should tell Obi-Wan as they could use his help, but Anakin rebuts this, saying that because he's on the council, he will have an obligation to report it, which will only make his situation more dire. But Ahsoka doesn't agree with this, and believes Obi-Wan would help them. Ahsoka leaves Anakin for the time being, as he goes to meet with the Chancellor and the Jedi Council, where he's granted a seat on the council by Palpatine's authority, but not the rank of Jedi Master. Something Palpatine knew would happen, and would increase Anakin's distaste towards the council and bring him closer to his side. Ahsoka meets with Anakin, as she senses his anger and fear is only rising. She meditates in her chamber later in the day, searching, pleading to the Force to reveal the truth behind her visions, but the opposite happens. The visions worsen as she starts to see Anakin directly, cutting down Jedi inside the temple, knights, Padawans, and even younglings. Ahsoka snaps out of it and realizes the situation is getting worse. She fears the darkness is getting to Anakin, and she decides to go behind his back and consult Obi-Wan. That night, Anakin meets with Palpatine at the opera, where he hears of Darth Plagueis the Wise, and starts to really consider the dark side as his only option to save Padme. However, whilst this is taking place, Ahsoka meets with Obi-Wan and tells him the truth about why Anakin has been so upset recently, his nightmares of Padme, their relationship, and child on the way. This shocked Obi-Wan. Secretly, he always knew of their relationship. However, their child changes things, and he understands why he's been so off due to his nightmares. Obi-Wan tells Ahsoka that they must talk with Anakin directly, and they meet Padme at her house and wait for Anakin to return from his meeting with Palpatine. They do just this, and Anakin enters his house to see Padme, Obi-Wan, and Ahsoka. Anakin asks what the meaning of this is, anger in his tone, and turns to Ahsoka, accusing her of telling Obi-Wan about Padme. But before Ahsoka can respond, Obi-Wan tells him not to be angry at her, that consulting him was the right move, and that he's sorry that he didn't believe that he would help him. Obi-Wan tells Anakin that he won't report him to the council and promises they will get to the bottom of Anakin's visions. Anakin recounts his nightmares in more detail, and Obi-Wan thinks something is off, for his visions to come at a time like this, when the war is almost over, seems awfully convenient. Ahsoka butts in and tells them she's having visions of her own. She told Anakin this already, but not the full truth. That her visions are of the destruction of the Jedi Order, but more importantly, the destruction is at the hands of Anakin. That in her nightmares, he's turned to the dark side and destroys the Order. Anakin was shocked by this and didn't know what to say. He couldn't believe this, but in the back of his mind, he did, as only an hour ago, he'd begun to consider the dark side as an option to save Padme. Obi-Wan puts a hand on his chin, telling them that sensing the future is very dangerous and often misleading, but the pieces are starting to fall into place. Something is certain. Anakin is being manipulated to the dark side by someone, no doubt Darth Sidious. Ahsoka asks Anakin who Sidious could be, and Obi-Wan tells them that only he, Yoda and Windu know this, but they have proof. Sidious is involved in the leadership of the Republic. It could be Saint Pistage, Mas Amida, or even Palpatine. They don't know who, but both Anakin and Ahsoka's visions confirm that he's attempting to turn Anakin to the dark side. Anakin decides it's a long shot, but Palpatine told him only hours earlier a story of Darth Plagueis the Wise, a Sith Lord who could save the ones he cared about from dying with the dark side. It clicked for Obi-Wan, who proclaimed that's proof itself of what they've concluded. Sidious is using Palpatine to turn Anakin to the dark side, or Palpatine could be Sidious. It's all too uncertain. Obi-Wan tells Anakin they must go to the Jedi Council for help, but Anakin has his reservations. However, Kenobi promises Anakin that he will defend him in front of the council and will always have his back. The next morning they travel to the council, and together Obi-Wan, Anakin and Ahsoka reveal everything. Anakin's relationship, his child, his nightmares, but also Ahsoka's nightmares, as well as the connection they've made between Sidious attempting to turn Anakin to the dark side, and that he's using Palpatine to do this. The entire council was shocked as murmurs begin to scatter. Windu gestured to speak, but Kenobi interrupted him, telling everyone that the most important matter here is Sidious, that they can deal with Anakin after he's been captured. The matter of the fact is Sidious is attempting to turn Anakin to the dark side through Palpatine, and they must find out who in the Republic leadership he is. Kenobi proposes a plan. Sidious doesn't know they've discovered his true intention of turning Anakin to his side, so they can use this to their advantage. They can plant an audio recording device on Anakin and get Palpatine to tell him the truth, who Sidious really is, and his own personal involvement. Everyone on the council agrees, and they set the plan in motion. Anakin travels to Palpatine's office to report on the contents of the Jedi Council meeting. However, his true plan was something deeper. He asked Palpatine about the power he talked about the night before, Darth Plagueis, and if it's really true. Palpatine tells Anakin that it is, who asks the Chancellor how he can learn it, that he needs to know the secret. But Palpatine tells Anakin that to learn the power, he must know the power of the dark side. Is this something he's willing to do? He tells Palpatine that he is, that he needs this power and will give up being a Jedi for it. Anakin's acting is good. He's attempting to lure Palpatine into revealing everything. He asks the Chancellor who Sidious really is, and in this moment, Palpatine believes he's perfectly manipulated Anakin to the point where he sought him out perfectly and decides to tell Anakin that he is Darth Sidious and can teach him the power he seeks, but only if he joins the dark side. Now in this next part, Anakin was not acting. He couldn't believe Palpatine was Sidious. He thought it would be someone else in his bureaucracy. He's always been a friend, a mentor for his entire life, but his true purpose was to turn him to the dark side. Anakin accuses Palpatine of being behind the Clone War, manipulating everything from the very beginning. Palpatine agrees, saying it's true, but only to show the galaxy what's really wrong with the Republic and Jedi, to show them that something new was needed, the Sith. And Anakin asks about Dooku, and Palpatine proclaims he was merely his puppet and followed orders blindly. But Palpatine changes tact, telling Anakin that the only way he can save Padme is to join him, and together they can save her. Anakin stumbles, snapping out of his confusion as he remembers the real objective as to why he's there. He's got everything he's needed, proof of Palpatine's treachery, and they have enough proof to remove him from office. Meanwhile, at the Jedi Temple, the council sat with key senators, Bail Organa, Mon Mothma, Ni Avla, Bana Brimu, and many more, as they listened to Palpatine admitting he was behind the Clone War and a traitor to the Republic. This was enough proof, and together they all traveled to Palpatine's office and arrived whilst Anakin was still in conversation, playing his role perfectly, teasing Palpatine that there was a chance he would join him. But after learning the truth, this was never a possibility. The council walks in and arrests Palpatine. He doesn't resist, since he knows he doesn't stand a chance against the entire Jedi Council, and accepts his loss for now. All of the proof is presented to the Senate, and Palpatine is officially removed from office, as well as all of his constitutional amendments overturned, and true power returned to the Senate. Over the following weeks, General Grievous is hunted down and defeated, as well as the Separatist leaders sign their surrender agreement, and the Clone War has come to an end. Meanwhile, the time had come when Padme entered labor. However, Anakin was not afraid. This was because his dreams had stopped right after they captured Palpatine, which confirmed to Anakin that Padme would have died if he turned and joined the dark side. Palpatine's promises of power were a lie, and this was a very important lesson for Anakin. Padme gave birth to the twins, Luke and Leia, and together the Skywalker family had begun. After this, Anakin was called in front of the Jedi Council for his verdict. He had acted against the Jedi Code, formed a family and fathered children, but he was the chosen one and saved the galaxy from the Sith. The council had voted on whether he should be allowed to remain in the Order, and he entered to hear the results. The vote went 9-2 in favor of Anakin being allowed to remain in the Order, and was promoted to the rank of Jedi Master, and kept his seat on the council. Anakin couldn't be more happy. His family safe, a master on the council. There's nothing more he could need. Ahsoka hears the good news, and decides to rejoin the Jedi Order. As with Anakin on the council, she sees a bright future for the Jedi. Anakin, Padme, Obi-Wan and Ahsoka meet often at the Skywalker home for dinner, and to rejoice in their victory. They get along extremely well, and are greater friends than anyone could be. Anakin was extremely happy Ahsoka rejoined the Order, and he thanked his apprentice often, as he believed without her, he might have been tempted by Palpatine's offer of power, and as a result, lost everything he held dear to him. Ahsoka was thankful that she could help, and she cared deeply for her master. If you enjoyed this video, you have to watch What If Anakin Was Reborn with all of his memories, and What If Padme Saved Anakin on Mustafar. Don't forget to check out our Black Friday sales, where with every order, you get one free mystery saber, any saber from our website at random. There's also up to 50% off. Don't forget to like and subscribe, leave your video ideas in the comments, and thanks for watching.